Hey, what's up? Zach here, and these are my top 5 favorite basketball shoes for the 2025 NBA season. And every year this list gets harder because every year I feel like we get more and more brands that are making more and more quality shoes. So I'm already prepared for the comment section. You can let me have it if you disagree with these, but these are the ones that I kind of found that kind of cut through all the rest. Now coming in at number 5, it is a shoe that honestly I feel like is a whole is greater than the sum of its parts situation, right? You look at all the materials on it and it doesn't seem like it should be a world beater, but when you put them all together, really creates really a fantastic playing shoe, and that is the Adidas Dame 9. Now, of course, no, it doesn't have Jet Boost in it or Bounce Pro, which I really would have liked to have seen in the 9, but it does have that full-length bottom-loaded shank with those leaflets that honestly do provide enough kick to this shoe to make it feel really lively. It also has the combination slipper tongue as well as traditional lace eyelet system. So you're getting the best of both worlds, kind of that glove-like fit of a booty line or a slipper tongue, but also kind of the secure, rugged tie down of a traditional 3-piece tongue and lace system. So honestly, you put them on and they don't feel like what they look like on the teardown. And so I am looking forward to the next iteration of this shoe, and hopefully we get one of my favorite Adidas foams in there. But suffice to say, the formulation of Light Strike in here, as well as just the feelings of playability, really bring this up into the list. Also, it does give you a lot of the same trappings as the Harden line without some of the bulk of the Harden line. And so I feel like for people that don't like I said, the bulkiness of that line of shoes, going into the Dame line provides enough of the similar characteristics, but also maybe a little bit more of a nimble shoe. And coming in at number 4 is a tie between two shoes that honestly use similar materials and similar engineering to create two shoes that are just they're players' shoes, right? They got great feel, they have enough in them to give you good containment, but they're just shoes that are made with basketball footwork in mind, and that is a tie between the Sabrina 2 as well as the Nike LeBron 22. And like I said, the reason I like these shoes so much is a combination of containment, but also not super bulked out clunker shoes. You can still get very fast, quick footwork. The grip on them is nimble enough, but it also doesn't feel like super glue on the bottom of your foot. They don't feel super bottom heavy, but they also feel very bottom stable. They're just very fluid, crafty, tactile shoes. And before I get to the number 3 shoe, I do want to make 2 honorable mentions. Number 1 is the EQLZ 24/7. Honestly, I think this shoe is good enough to make this list. It's just that at the time of recording this, sometimes they can be a little bit hard to find. I think that once they get more runs of these shoes and they become more readily available, you'll probably start seeing this brand on this list because the design of these is just so interesting. It just works so well, especially for a shoe with the profile that it has. It plays kind of like the Sabrinas, but in just this really super unique package. Now the second honorable mention, no, didn't crack this top 5 list, but the more I've kind of messed around with it, the more I've kind of seen how good it is just for what it is, and that is the Jordan Luka 3. What I like about these so much is, honestly, it's how the shoe grips combined with that iso plate, that shank on it. It just has enough stability and it feels buttery enough, but also stable enough that it is kind of interesting that this shoe is kind of meant, it's meant for that quote unquote, that Luka step back, whatever, in his footwork. And it is cool that they actually got it right with that, at least in my opinion, how this shoe works. No, to me, it's on a top 5 shoe list and maybe not even a top 6 or 7, but I did think it was worth mentioning that for what it is. It's pretty cool. But with that being said, coming in at number 3 on this list is the Way of Wade All City 12 Encore. Now, in my opinion, the All City 12 Encore did just enough to get the comfort aspect up in the All City 12, but maintain all the containment, the breathability, everything there, the grip and all that. Now, I do think that the 12 Encore is a little bit of a better indoor shoe than they are an outdoor shoe, but for people that were looking for the containment of the All City 12, but maybe the feel a little bit more of the All City 11. I feel like the Encores were really a nice compromise in there. And to me, I felt a significant difference in the 12 Encores versus the 12s. And coming in at number 2 is an oldie but a goodie on this channel, and that is the New Balance 2-Way V5. Now, I definitely think the New Balance 2-Way V4 still kind of has a place on this top 5 list. I think if the V5 hadn't come out, the V4 would probably still be on this list. I do think they're pretty similar shoes. Yeah, the V5 might be a little bit more comfortable, might have a little more, the uppers might be a little more buttery. Like I said, the V4 might be a little bit more rugged, but there's enough similarities between the two. Like I said, this is, one of just the most rugged shoes out there. It has the containment, but also the speed, the quickness, more nimble footwork available in these. They're kind of just the all-around shoe, right? It's hard not to recommend them for so many different things, especially for pickleball as well as tennis. Like, these are one of the better tennis shoes on the market as well. So looking for kind of the best all-around shoe out there, yeah, the 2A line I think still reigns supreme. Before I get to the number 1 shoe, I do want to let you know my favorite sport and recovery slide on the market. Shocker, it's the Zen by Xenon. Obviously, my collaboration with Xenon Paddle created this sport and recovery slide. It is a mixture of both thermoplastic foam and rubberized EVA. The shape of these was made to allow kind of the most recovery for your feet, but also keep the foot stable so that you're not trying to actually stabilize the sandal. The sandal is helping to allow you to recover. If you want to check more out about this, I'll leave a link in the description below. Now, getting to the number 1 shoe, I know I'm probably going to get hate for this in the comment section because it's not, super flashy or anything like that, but once again, it is the New Balance Fresh Foam BBV2. And honestly, my opinion of these has kind of been more galvanized recently than anything, because as I've put more and more of my actual patience into these shoes, the more and more I've come to believe in them, especially over some other shoes I've recommended and have had to kind of go to these. Like I said, I know this isn't the flashiest pick at number 1. I know this has been a number 1 shoe in the past, but to me, like I said, this is the Foot Doctor Zach channel. And I kind of go with what, a lot of times my influences at my job affect what happens on this channel. And it can't be overstated how much this shoe has helped so many people, at least in my practice, kind of get over some of the lumps, bumps, bruises, and snake bites on their feet. So yeah, once again, the shoe reigns supreme. I do wish they would put a real gusset on this shoe. That'd be my biggest complaint about these. I am looking forward to seeing, what New Balance does in the future with this line of shoes. And yeah, I know New Balance was the number 1 and 2 shoe on this list. No one's paying me to say that. No, I'm not a secret shill for it, or what do people call it, an industry plant for anybody. Obviously, if anything, I'm the plant for Xenon because one of the designers of these. Like I said, there are just so many companies doing so many amazing things in the basketball space that honestly, I think for my next list for the 2025 NBA playoffs, probably going to be an even more difficult list to put together. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Which shoes have made your top 5 list over the last year? I'd love to know down below. If you do want to take a deeper dive into any of these shoes, including the honorable mentions, I will leave that playlist linked up above, and I'll leave the full-length review of the Xenon Zen slide linked right here. Respect, rubber, and foam. I'll see you somewhere in the Sneakerverse.